Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you finally for the Tuesday album review you've been waiting for Lifehouse No Name Face, Season 6, Episode 21, that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys tonight. Sorry, I'm petting my sister's cat, or soon to be my cat, because he's a sweetheart, Titan is. So, he's really sweet when he can be. But pretty much, I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 63 minutes of this 14-track album and let you know my thoughts on Lifehouse No Name Face, their first studio album, their debut studio album that I wanted to check out. So let's dive into this album review. Now, this is the second to last episode. Next Tuesday's album review The next Tuesday album review will be the last for the season. And I think you'll like how I'm going to end it off for the last episode. So pretty much definitely stay tuned for next week's Tuesday album review. I think you guys might like it. But overall, let's dive into this review. Hanging by a Moment was the lead single for this No Name Face record, and off the bat, it's a strong track. It's very catchy, very radio friendly for sure. It definitely brings a lot of good, memorable moments that Lifehouse is used to making, and just the production, the mixing, just how this song was instrumentally sounding was really good, and just Jason Wade's vocals sound really amazing in this song, so 5 out of 5. 6, Cycle Carousel, is a pretty good song in its own way. Not one of my favorites, but this is where the album tends to fluctuate from pretty good songs to good songs. So there are a few critiques I have with some of the tracks, but not to the extent where I hate this record. So 4.75 out of 5 for 6, Cycle Carousel. It's not a terrible song for how it sounds. Unknown is pretty good in its own way too. I had a few critiques with this song, with how it's playing out, but execution-wise, Jason Wade's vocals sound pretty strong for majority of the time. So 4.75 out of 5. Somebody Else's Song is a good track, but I'm just not feeling for the falsetto that Jason Wade does in this track. It just kind of makes me cringe a little. Not to the point where I hate it, but it's just a little cringe. I mean, it still sounds nice, it's just, I have my opinions about that falsetto in the song. So this is a 4.5 out of 5 for this track. Trying is a pretty good song in its own way. Has a nice melody to it, so I can't fault this song on the melody structure. And just the way the instrumentation is sounding, it's pretty good for what it goes for. And Jason Wade's vocals are pretty strong. 4.75 out of 5. Only One is a pretty good song in its own way too. I really do dig some of the track. For 4 minutes and 56 seconds, it's not a terrible runtime for sure. So it's pretty good and plays it safe. So 4.75 out of 5. I mean, there's some dull moments with Jason Wade's singing potential, but it still sounds like normal Lifehouse that you're used to listening to from back in the day. So this is how they made their big break for making music. So 4.75 out of 5. Simon was a pretty strong track. I really enjoyed this one. For 6 minutes and 7 seconds, I think, I was impressed with this song. So 6 minutes and a minute, it was somewhere around there. But it still was well executed for the runtime it went for. And Jason Wade's vocals are pretty strong. So 5 out of 5. Cling and Clatter is a pretty good song in its own way. Not hating it for what it sounds like. And Jason Wade's vocals are still strong in its own way. And just the melody, it depends. There's good moments and weak moments. with how the verses are sounding, the chorus. It's mainly the verses that have its slight hiccups, but not to the extent where I hate it. So 4.75 out of 5. Breathing is a pretty good song in its own way. I didn't hate this, it just felt like it was dragging out for the runtime it was going for in some areas, but not a terrible song. It still sounds good with Jason Wade singing in it. 4.75 out of 5. Quasimodo is a good song in its own way. I'm not really feeling for this one too much. It's one of the least favorites, along with somebody else's song. So those are the only two songs that are going to structurally bring the rating down for this record. But overall, good song in its own way. Just a few opinions I have about it. So, with the melody structure, Jason Wade's vocals, and just how lyrically it's sounding, and just instrumentation. So, 4.5 out of 5. Somewhere in between is the second to last track to end the regular edition. The last track is Everything. That's the one to end the whole entire album CD version. But there are bonus tracks too that I'll be mentioning. That's why I'm mentioning all 14 songs. But overall, somewhere in between is going to get a 4.75 out of 5. Didn't hate it for how it sounded. I think Jason Wade's vocals are pretty strong with the song itself, and just execution-wise with the melody, it sounds nice. And it at least tries to play it safe in a nice way. So 4.75 out of 5. Everything is the closing track for the regular edition, and it is a strong closing track to end the record. So 6 minutes, and I'm enjoying what I'm listening to. Nice melody, nice vocals from Jason Wade, and just it executed very well. 4.75 out of 5. Did have a little bit of critiques with how the verses were sounding, but other than that, it structurally shines in the chorus mostly. What's wrong with that is a pretty good song in its own way. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for this one. As the one of the two extra bonus tracks, it's strong for what it offers. So, and Jason Wade's vocals are pretty amazing in this, and just how it's structured, this track, it performed in a good way. Fool is the last track to end this whole entire album and make it a 63-minute runtime in some seconds, but it's enjoyable for what it goes for. So I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for Fool. I did enjoy this track for how it sounded, and execution-wise, I think Jason Wade's vocals and the instrumentation is pretty strong for what it goes for. It feels like I know this song from somewhere, but I can't wrap my finger around it, and it's at the tip of my tongue. I know Lifehouse is singing this track, but it sounds like the melody is very familiar when you hear the chorus mostly. The chorus makes it seem like a familiar track that I've listened to before diving into this track. But other than that, 4.75 out of 5 for Fool. It's still a strong track for what it goes for. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Lifehouse, No Name Face, their debut studio album from 2000. Keep in mind, this is almost a 25-year-old album. So next October 31st, it'll be 25 years. So that's next year. But it is going to hit its 24-year mark by the end of the month. But overall, it's a good album for what it offers. And execution-wise, there are some moments where I have my critiques, and moments where I think the album plays it in a safe way and in a good way. So I think Hanging by a Moment is a memorable track. Simon is a strong track. The other 4.75 out of 5 songs are still fine for what they go for, but somebody else's song and Quasimodo were the ones that brought the rating down a little bit. But other than that, if I were to give No Name Face by Lifehouse a score, I'm feeling a light 8 out of 10. a good 8 out of 10. It's a good record. Definitely worth checking out for yourself to see what you think of this record. And overall, I think this is a good debut album from Lifehouse. And yeah, 8 out of 10 for Lifehouse No Name Face, their 2000 album. I hope you enjoyed this Tuesday album review for Season 6, Episode 21. And thank you guys for watching the review tonight.